Hi there, welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk about another chart that I've been programming lately, and I call it the gold wave analysis. So it basically uses the smooth moving averages to identify different market states. So you can see on the chart here that we have gold, there's an inconclusive state for silver, and there's a downtrend for blue. So you can see if I take off the overlay on the price here, that if you can see the actual indicators, the moving averages here. The line 1 is the short moving average, and line 2 is the long day moving average. So the gold state, it shows long upward trends, strongly bullish trends, and you can see that we've been in one since basically June 2020, July 2023. And the silver state is more of a transition period where the lines are crossing or conflicting. And that's sort of when you get out into those bear market periods where you can kind of transition into forming a bottom there pretty much every cycle. And we also went down to the silver in the first cycle here, but we didn't necessarily get into that blue range durably like all the other cycles. So the blue state, once again, strong downward trend, where the lines are where the long end of the curve is below or is above the line 1, the short one. And then there's also another overlay called the moving average spread, which is basically the extension or the percentage difference from those two moving averages. So if you actually overlay this, you can sort of see what I mean. So this is actually a really interesting chart, I think, because it can sort of show you when we're forming out these cycle bottoms for Bitcoin, and these are only long-term cycle bottoms. So you can see that even though we've had sort of this drawdown from 70K in March all the way down to around 54K in August, there you can still see that we've held that long-term moving average below the gray line to the second line. And you can sort of see we did that here around 100K, and we've sort of held it here as well. And now the line is sort of starting to roll over, you can see. So it's actually up in a positive momentum if you normalize that slope, which is basically taking the degree of the angle on the slope. And if you sort of overlay that as well, you can see that it's starting to trend upward. So if you normalize the slope, you can also see that it kind of corresponds to those local or those cycle tops as well. I think this chart is really interesting in seeing long-term momentum shifts in the market, just because there's so many different indicators, and some of them tell you one thing, some of them tell you another thing, but this one is very reliable in the sense that it'll show you exactly what's happening in the market, exactly at what time. And it'll also front run certain things. Like if you look at the 2021 bull market here, you can sort of see we topped out around 58K, which is right around the top. Like it wasn't perfect, and we did go up to around 64K, like around 69K that cycle. But it's good enough, like 10K off. But if you sold up here and then you bought back down here, like who's complaining really? Like I wasn't complaining. You can sort of see the spread. If we go on this chart, actually, I can sort of show it better. You can sort of see that the spread was between each other was turning into the negative. So you can see right here, it turned negative at around 38K here. So even if front ran it right here when it turned gray at 40K right here. And that's pretty much when we had that bear market period that lasted approximately 370 days there. So I kind of wanted to show you guys where the trend is at right now for this indicator. And I think it's important to see how this indicator works in terms of actually holding support for Bitcoin, because you can see in the past when we had that drawback in 2021 and into the summer of 2021 July, the price, even though it went down around, even though the price, sorry, went down around 50, 55%, 56%, we didn't even break below this moving average here, and it didn't even turn into the negative until we were at 40K, and that was almost a year later. So since this moving average is obviously a moving average, the later periods are the more time passes at a lower price period, at a lower price point, the likelier it is to sort of roll over here. So you can sort of see that we held that as support during that 2021 summer, and then we saw a new high. And I kind of wanted to extrapolate that out into this cycle just to show you guys how it's been holding up. So we're still in the green right now. And even though we were sort of in the negative right here, the slope, I mean, if we take the normalized slope, we can see that in this when we hit 69K, so it was trending down until we hit that 54K. You can sort of see it on the, or if we hit 50K there, but I don't have the low periods here. But then it sort of rolled over again until we hit 100K again. So what does it mean? So I think Bitcoin has really been doing the same thing it's been doing this entire cycle, which is it sort of forms these bottoms and these tops, and it goes into a range, and you can sort of see that it goes up and down and up and down until we finally break out. And that's exactly when we saw the gold wave turn into a positive trend. And now we can sort of see the same thing happening here. We sort of go into these ranges. Bitcoin forms a local bottom. It holds support, and then we go back up. And it's doing the same thing right now, where we form this range, and it holds support at this level, right there. Now, I think another important indicator is the bull market support band, which is a 21 EMA versus the 21-week SMA. And that is a big line in the sand for a lot of people, including some other YouTubers, where you need to see that level hold in order for the market to continue going up. And I think this is a really good indicator as well, in terms that if you hold it, you'll see once we get durably above it, you see we sort of broke below it here. We held support at this level. We actually went above it in 2024 in June and July, and then we sort of broke below it. We sort of tested it again, broke below it. We couldn't go. We held support at this level on the gold wave, and you sort of tested it again, tested as support right there, and then finally we went back up. So I think that if we can hold support like we already did on the gold wave, if you can sort of see this go up and then hold support right here on the 20-week EMA, then I think we can sort of see the market sort of trend back up over time. I think that this is a little bit weird to operate this way, but it really does show you the long-term analysis of the market and how the market's really trending in the direction that it is right now. At least you can see it's holding support right in that level. So yeah, I just want to make a quick little video on that new indicator that I've been working on. There's some other cool ones that I'm working on. So if you guys like this content, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to hear and answer them. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.